I looked up in the sky and I asked, where is joy? Where is happiness? I'm joy. I'm here right with you. At the midst of all the chaos, there's stillness, and the stillness is where I live. When I look back and reflect, I barely ask the question, why do we live? What is the reason for me and for all of us to live? And the question itself, it's an interesting concept. It's easier to judge somebody. But asking the reason why we live from ourselves is the hardest. And there's a reason why we don't ask. But where are you in this? If you ask yourself this question and your answer is, I want to live a meaningful life, I want to savor the joy the life brings us, then continue watching and stay with me, because at the end of this video, you're going to have an enormous insights about your life, the reasons why you live, and you're going to live with the question that you can answer, that only you can answer. From the moment we were born, we were demonstrated how to live our life by adults, by caregivers that raised us. And how they lived, what they believed in, what they were saying, the job that they were doing, their way of living was built in our system. What we are trained to do was not our choice. As an immigrant that came to Canada recently, and as somebody that traveled in more than 20 countries, I've seen so many beautiful lifestyles, and I wouldn't say any of them is right or wrong, but they are very, very different. Some people appreciate the family connection. Some people appreciate abundance, the wealth. Some people care about the reputation, what value they bring into the community, how they present themselves to the world is what matters the most. Who you are to the others and yourself in the family matters the most. But what I'm trying to say is it wasn't our choice. How we were raised wasn't our choice. Now the question is, are you truly happy with what you've been trained to do? There's no judgment. I'm not saying this is the right way, this is the wrong way, forget about everything you learned. That's not the point. I want you to ask, are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Are you satisfied with who you are today? What you do, what you think, are you satisfied with that? And let yourself ask this question. Are you happy with your train of thoughts? And the easiest way to answer is when you are doing what you're doing, are you more free? Do you feel free? Do you feel expanded? Do you feel motivated? Or you're mostly feeling contracted, you're feeling needing to be safe all the time, needing to be forced into saying things, forced into being someone, but deep inside you know that it's not you. There's so many different varieties of life that I'm not someone to judge, but let me ask you, are you happy with the way you are, the choices you make automatically? Deep inside, are you happy with that? Although there are so many different varieties of life, the core survival instincts are you have to have good grades, so you go to school, you have to have a decent school, and you have to have a decent partner, and you also have to make decent amount of money. Most of us believe that you can't be too rich, but you can't be too poor. You can't have too glamorous life, but you can't be too shady. physical body, how you appear, shouldn't be too big or too small. You can't be too attractive, but you can't be too um, too too ugly. Especially in my life, I was trained to believe that you can't be too seen, you can't be too out there, but you can't be too unseen. So it has to be a right balance between, it has to be just the right balance. But what is too much and what is too little? Where's this golden balance where everybody's supposed to know? I used to question, well, if there's only one way of living in the scope of from being too less to too much, while I was sitting in that golden standard where I had decent career, decent money, decent shape, not too seen but not too unseen, just the average everything, I thought, this is so boring. Why can't I be different? Why can't I live my life? I don't know what my life's supposed to be, but this is too boring. That was my belief. So what happens if you are too different then? You can be a little bit different, but you can't be too different. What happens if you're too different? Well, the answer is, if you are too different, there's a potential risk that you're gonna be bullied, you're gonna be othered, and you're gonna be odd one. So what happens if you're bullied, if you're othered, if you're discriminated because you're too different? What happens is there's a potential risk of pain. It's not necessarily a guaranteed pain, but there's a potential, very, very high potential to have a pain. And then to a lot of us, it happened already when we were children. Because we didn't belong to that standard, there was a pain inside of us that we don't want to feel again. And I was there for sure. The reason why we don't make any changes, the reason why we don't explore further, the reason why we don't ask what my life is all about, why am I reasoning, why am I living this life, how can I be more fulfilled, the reason why we can't ask those, because there's potential pain, the emotional pain, feeling lonely, feeling abandoned, feeling hungry, fear of losing things that you have so far accumulated, and fear of dying. And most of us already have that pain, and we don't want to feel that again. So is it going to happen in the future? We don't know, but we have experienced it. Now we know the reason why we don't make any changes, the reason why we don't question what we do, is because there's a fear of pain, which we don't want to experience. It's almost as if it's the universe rule how the life works. Your true meaning, your authentic self, resides in the other side of the fear. Unless you face your fear, unless you find out your fear, what is it that you're scared of, and then facing your fear, you're gonna be living unfulfilled life, or running after somebody that doesn't know why they're running. Just because the majority of the people are running that way or living in certain standards doesn't mean it's you who also needs to live that way. It's your precious life. You've been given a life to fulfill your dreams, fulfill and savor the life in a way that it's meaningful to you and it's very special to you. Now I want you to walk away with, what is the question? What is the fear? What is your biggest fear that's stopping you from asking the questions, and you already know. It's the universal law that says you have to face your fear to find the joy. And the reason why I talked about stillness, silence, is because only in the silence you can talk to yourself, because you're the only person that knows what's your biggest fear. You're the only person that lived your life. Give yourself the gift of stillness, time to reflect. And you don't have to do this alone. I choose to become a life coach because I want to help as many people as I can to fulfill their soul, to live from this place of love and authenticity. And that's the reason why I live this life. It's my calling, it's my purpose. So I got to live a meaningful life by helping other people in a way I can, in a way I'm passionate about. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to book sessions with me, please go ahead to my website, and I'll see you guys in my next video.